Joining us right now in an exclusive interview to talk about Seas and so much more. Beast Industries President and CEO, Jeff Heisenfeld. Good morning to you.
Good to see you again.
So this is a big deal. We should say he's the most followed. He continues to be the most followed individual on social media. 468 million subscribers on YouTube now.
On YouTube, yep. And over 1 billion across all platforms. Brilliant storyteller using the medium of his time to create content that engages, inspires, and entertains. And Mr. Beast is akin to Mickey Mouse. A very important character, but they have Lucas and Star Wars and Marvel and Avengers and Pixar and Woody. And so what you'll see over time is we're moving away from an individual to building an entertainment platform that will allow for other content and other talent to emerge and rise as a star.
Basically, in a big way. And I don't even know if our audience knows that about what you're up to.
We're so excited. A couple of weeks ago, we announced the acquisition of Step, which was a 6-year-old fintech business founded by Alexi and CJ. And their mission was to help educate people around financial services, around budgeting, around credit, around responsibility, particularly young people establishing credit and getting started. It fits so perfect with our mission, which is to up-level children around the world. And so we're coming together and using Jimmy's reach, our fandom of Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And what we want to do, as Jimmy said in his recent tweet, he said, I grew up without any of this knowledge. I wish I had it. I want to provide it to others. I grew up on welfare and food stamps and felt the same exact way. So what we're going to do is take what is traditionally dry information around financial literacy. We're going to make it entertaining. We're going to gamify it. And we're going to help drive the habits that lead to long-term success for the masses.
That's awesome. Deal worth almost $1 billion. Under the agreement with Rich Sparkle Holdings, the Senegal-born Italian content creator keeps 49% of his company and long-term control. But the firm has exclusive commercial rights to his brand, including an AI-powered digital twin. The twin will host live streams and multilingual content and will be available around the clock for fan engagement, using Lame's voice, likeness, and mannerisms.
With fewer people by leaning on like AI tools and just making them more efficient. So they've invested in Goose, which is their internal tool, and they're really planning on leaning on that a lot.
Is there a sense here, though, when we talk about what this company is trying to be? And I know there's been a lot of speculation about its future, whether there could be a potential buyer, whether it would be a buyer for something else here. Is there any way to connect the dots there?
I mean, I think it's hard to speculate on, like, you know, PayPal's been the story this week. I think it's hard to say that they're going to swoop in and buy. I mean, it's always hard to tell with these things. I think based on this, it feels less likely, but that's kind of just me talking.
But does it seem like when you talk to management, this is a proactive move? Because at least if you were, I don't know, thwarting off an activist investor, you can say, well, we cut our workforce by 40%, so that buys us 9 months to turn the company around?
They're really trying to communicate that this is coming from a place of strength. Like, they're trying to highlight that they had a strong 2025. They've kind of increased their lending initiatives. They say that they're growing profitably, or they're growing their profitability. And they really want to communicate that this is coming from a place of strength, and that's kind of what's going on here.
I just want to clarify, too. I finally pulled up the Q4 shareholder letter. So they have about 10,000 employees, according to this letter. So basically, they would drop that to around 6,000, quoting him. And he says his core thesis is simple, that intelligence tools have changed what it means to build and run a company. And basically, a significantly smaller team using those tools can do more and do it better. He also says that he thinks a lot of companies are late to this. And I think back to some of the attrition that we saw in some of the big names like Meta and a few others over the last couple of years, where they kind of also publicly kind of said the same thing. They didn't make as dramatic of a cut, but this idea that technology had advanced enough, and maybe they overhired too in the previous cycle, that they didn't need as many people.
And that's his point, right? Is he's trying to say, like, I think we got bloated. I think we need to become more efficient. Like, they have been kind of restructuring and doing rolling layoffs since at least 2024. And that's kind of where they're at. And, you know, I hope that they're happy at this headcount and they don't have to let more people go. But yeah, he's making a bold bet.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And then also go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Mr. Beast creating platforms. And what are these platforms going to be used for? That's right, the metaverse. All he's doing is creating a digital world. And then we have financial literacy coming up again. We know they have to dangle that carrot. Oh, that's a great thing. But we know what his real agenda is to do, and that's to sell the beast system. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And I went over this in the earlier video. We have Lame last month announced he's going to be selling his name and likeness for $975 million. And this company is going to have exclusive rights. But then we also know, guys, that technology can be used for good or evil, because that digital twin can be doing some evil things. And that's the reason why you have to make sure you tighten that contract up, because that digital twin is going to represent you. And if that contract is not right, they can turn you into anything just to make their money back and to sell content. If they're giving you $975 million, you better believe they got something amazing planned. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Now we have Jack Dorsey's block to lay off 40% of his workforce in AI remake. So basically he's saying they have the tools to replace the people. And we know a whole lot more companies are going to come out and say this. Remember, majority of our companies that receive trillions and trillions of dollars, they were the big tech companies, and that's who's laying off massive amounts of people. And that's all you keep hearing about is agentic AI. These AI agents are going to be working in the background, doing all the work, but then also controlling you. And I told you about the digital twin. I know a lot of you sitting there laughing, but he just got $975 million. And believe me, they have a big plan for it. Now we have Salesforce hikes buybacks to $50 billion. And again, these big tech companies have billions sitting on the sidelines. And instead of reinvesting that in the company, they're doing buybacks just to hold up their stock, just to hold up the illusion, because they know the central banks have their back, because they're building the fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have the Japanese yen carry trade. And we know it's not going to end well. But remember, this is a plan. The Japanese leaders were brought to the United States to plan out this fourth industrial revolution. And that's the reason why Japan was buying up U.S. treasuries like crazy. But now it's time to unwind. And as the Fed is going to be cutting rates, we have Japan is going to be raising rates. And where's all those trillions of dollars we have sitting in money market accounts going? That's right, to higher yield. And all that higher yield is going to be in China, Africa, India, and Japan. And we also see the yuan getting stronger and stronger. But again, Trump has to devalue this dollar in order to devalue the debt to get us on this level playing field. You can look at gold price and see the United States dollar has already been devalued. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Marco Rubio on the incident in Cuba. And never forget about Operation Northwood. We have chaos in the Middle East, Venezuela, Mexico, Cuba. Chaos across the globe. You cannot make this up. But remember, out of chaos comes order. And speaking of chaos, we have the Vice President J.D. Vance says they're going to be holding some of the Medicaid going to recipients. Of course, if you have fraud, the only thing you have to do is stop it completely. You don't have to hold anything unless you want to cause chaos. And all this immigration is going on. Look no further than Rex 84. If you have the NWO book, you understand. And if you're a part of my Patreons, make sure you go watch the recent video that I did. But we're just going to keep hearing the drums get louder and louder. And when it comes to Iran, we're going to sit back, get our popcorn, and let it play out. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we know on the weekend, that's when we normally get drama. on Friday, and then we get more news on Sunday. It never fails. And speaking of movies, now we have Hillary Clinton. Question about Jeffrey Epstein. Says that she didn't know him. And we know that's definitely not true. Bill Clinton was over there all the time. All she's doing is playing the Hegelian dialectic, saying that she was asked about UFOs. And this is just letting us know that we are very close to Armageddon. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
NVIDIA's Jensen Huang describing a dramatic shift happening in AI in that earnings call last night.
Yeah. Agentic AI has turned an inflection point, and it literally happened in the last couple 2-3 months. The world is now awakened to the agentic AI inflection.
On Agentforce, that AI agent platform that continues to gain momentum, as we saw in this quarter, with annual reoccurring revenue jumping to $800 million from $540 in the previous quarter. And over 60% of new bookings are coming from existing customers. Salesforce also introduced a new metric, guys, the agent work unit, to help measure the usage of agents, which Wall Street is cheering right now. Deutsche Bank saying that these are all positives, but does also signal the path to broad-scale monetization, they say, across the company's substantial customer base will likely take some time and unlikely to be linear, adding that this whole thesis around Agentforce remains predicated on patient execution. And guys, that's been one of the key questions this morning. How much more time before Agentforce becomes a bigger contributor to overall sales? In the meantime, that $50 billion buyback, very significant. Several software companies buying back stock in the last couple weeks: HubSpot, ServiceNow, Dynatrace.
The Japanese yen carry trade is a simple strategy that global investment money has been using for the last few years. The tactic is to borrow money in Japan to take advantage of their low relative yields, buy dollars with the borrowed yen, and then invest that money in higher yielding or higher appreciating U.S. assets. Now, the trade worked great in 2022 through 2025 when Japanese 10-year yields averaged over 300 basis points below U.S. rates. It's estimated by major banks that as much as $1 trillion in global money has been linked to the strategy. What happens when it reverses? Well, we may soon find out. Just since November of 2025, Japanese 10-year yields have shot from 1.7% to a current level of 2.2%, with the spread to U.S. yields narrowing to negative 185 basis points. A trade of this magnitude depends heavily on new participants entering the trade to push it towards greater profitability. If this stalls, many worry that holders will rush to the exits. The problem, though, is that the trade isn't as simplistic as being short yen and long U.S. dollars and treasuries. There are many reasons to believe that money also ended up in U.S. equities, particularly tech stocks, which helped prop up the AI-fueled narrative that existed for years. The worry is that, if the trade becomes less attractive, it will push investors to quickly head for the exits all at once. Now, we've seen this type of thing happen before as trades get crowded, and it could be an element of the recent NASDAQ underperformance and the potential AI unwind.
That's ongoing this year on Chinese renminbi strength, which is both structural in nature and cyclical in nature, where the kind of narrative that we've had for the past few years on China, macro in particular, is gradually shifting and improving, and the net result of that is a stronger and better outlook for the currency.
So how are we thinking about the US dollar here, Audrey? Are we at the levels, are these kind of the new normal for the US dollar, and where we were maybe the beginning of 2025 was overbought, overvalued? This is where the dollar should be? Is that where the market is kind of weighing out right now?
I think the market is just waiting for a new trigger, Paul, on the dollar and on the currency market in general. We've talked about the structurally bearish view on the dollar. The theme has come and gone. We've had different episodes on tariff headlines, but those tend to fade very quickly. On geopolitical headlines, again, these come and, give you a leg lower in the dollar and then fade very quickly. But I think, the market ultimately needs the cyclical narrative on the dollar to turn, to be more confident that, this weaker dollar story that we have been calling will actually unfold in the second half of this year.
But suffice it to say, it is highly unusual to see shootouts in open sea like that. It's not something that happens every day. It's something, frankly, that hasn't happened with Cuba in a very long time. But we're going to find out. We're not going to base our conclusions on what they've told us.
We're announcing today that we have decided to temporarily halt certain amounts of Medicaid funding that are going to the state of Minnesota in order to ensure that the state of Minnesota takes its obligations seriously to be good stewards of the American people's tax money. Now, what is this going to mean? What this means is that, first of all, the providers on the ground in Minnesota have actually already been paid. The state has paid those providers the money. What we're doing is we are stopping the federal payments that will go to the state government until the state government takes its obligations seriously to stop the fraud that's being perpetrated against the American taxpayer.
At a CBC contributor, Halima, as you probably know, talks in Geneva just ended moments ago, but Axios earlier today reporting that White House advisors Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff were not happy with what they heard from Iran today. The evening session, again, just ended. What do you see as some of the high probability potential outcomes?
I mean, Brian, if the United States sticks with a zero enrichment demand, I don't see how we avoid military action. The question is there some narrow pathway whereby which Iran comes out and says that they will not have a nuclear weapon, that they agree to suspend all enrichment? Like, is there a way that we can bridge this divide? But again, I don't think the Iranians are going to give up the right to enrich domestically. And we think, that's the make or break issue. There were some reports today that the United States was demanding the complete destruction of the Natanz facility, the Fordow enrichment facility, the Isfahan reactor. Like, that is something, again, we just don't see the Iranians agreeing to that. So talks are set to resume in Vienna next week. But remember, Brian, in June, we had talks going up to the moment the Israeli jets started pounding Iran. So I don't think we should take the continuation remarks as an indication that we are pulling back from a military confrontation.
No, and Iran, Epstein never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance. But whatever they asked me, I did my very best to respond. It was disappointing that they refused to hold a public hearing, so I wouldn't have to be out here characterizing it for you. You could have seen it for yourself. We had asked for that. We think it would have been better for the committee and its efforts to gather whatever information they are seeking. We had a bit of a challenge in the beginning because we had agreed upon rules based on the fact it was going to be a closed hearing at their demand, and one of the members violated that rule, which was very upsetting because it suggested that they might violate other of our agreements. So we had to cease the hearing for a period of time until we could get assurances that no rules would be broken going forward, and we returned to answer questions repetitively, literally over and over again. I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices. So it's on the record numerous times. It then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate, one of the most vile, bogus conspiracy theories that was propagated on the internet.
We're going to have tremendous workforce availability. We're also going to have robots helping us. We're going to have a lot of robots helping us because we need it. And because we're going to town, we're building a lot between the AI and the auto plants. So we're going to need robots. We're going to have robots, but that's going to help us.
Robots hold steady hands in the operating room, and drones are redefining the future of war. Innovations of first-generation humanoids, factory automation, and autonomous vehicles have surged from private sector investment. Every one of these advancements is powered by AI. The robots are here. Our future is no longer science fiction.
Maybe crypto is actually built for the machines and we didn't even know it. And AI can easily handle private keys and easily understands transaction hashes and like how all this stuff works. It is money that is built for computers, even before the computers to intelligently handle it were built. So I find that interesting. And perhaps those of us who were involved in crypto pre-AI were kind of just like getting the ground ready for the AI systems to have a fully developed financial system handed to them, for better or worse.
This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology.
And as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stable coins to do that.
I think stable coins could reinforce dollar supremacy, because with stable coins could end up being one of the largest buyers of U.S. treasuries or T-bills. So all of a sudden, if you are using a stable coin in Nigeria that's backed by the U.S. dollar, you don't actually have to have dollars. It's on your phone. You can transact.
We are going big on digital assets. So Trump administration has made digital assets a priority. I've seen estimates that just over the short term, stable coins could create $2 trillion of demand for U.S. treasuries and treasury bills. To put that in context, the number is probably about $300 billion right now.
We will take a close look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stable coins, and new payment systems.
Things the Department of Commerce is going to start issuing its statistics on the blockchain, because you are the crypto president, and we are going to put out GDP on the blockchain so people can use the blockchain for data distribution, and then we're going to make that available to the entire government so all of you can do it. We're just ironing out all the details so we can do it.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services. It'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto. But with today's announcement, we take a major step to bring healthcare into the digital age. Instead of filling out the same tedious paperwork at every medical appointment, patients will simply be able to grant their doctors access to their records at the push of a button. Just a button and you're all set, and all the information the doctor needs will be immediately transmitted.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it will be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain.
an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity, and if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. As an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
If we could tokenize all our ETFs, all $5.3 trillion of our ETFs, and provide that in a digital wallet, you could seamlessly, without fees, going from a digital currency or a stable coin or whatever that may be in your digital wallet and buy bond or stocks. And I believe that is going to be the future.
I believe we're going to be in the cutting edge of tokenizing bonds and stocks. It's coming. And we have the technology now. The fact that we are now moving forward in tokenization, every bond and stock, is crazy. Yeah. We should be moving towards that frontier. Obviously, there's winners and losers and all that, but we need to be prepared for the tokenization. And it would democratize more finance if we tokenized bonds and stocks.
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.